Draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the top soccer tournament, set to take place next summer across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. But as the traditionally apolitical FIFA organization rolls out the red carpet for teams and fans from around the world, the president is expanding restrictions on travel to the U.S. and doubling down on his anti-immigrant rhetoric. MS Now White House reporter Akayla Gardner is at the Kennedy Center for us. Simone Sanders Townsend is back with me. Akayla, what's happening inside right now?
Well, Chris, today's World Cup draw has all the bells and whistles of an awards show. We've already seen Kevin Hart and Heidi Klum take the stage, as well as Tom Brady. And as you mentioned just moments ago, President Trump received FIFA's first ever Peace Prize as he publicly campaigns to get another award, the Nobel Peace Prize, next year for his efforts in helping to broker peace deals around the world, although he's notably had mixed results in doing that. But there's been a lot of attention paid to his relationship with FIFA's president, and many people are attributing that to the reason why that this draw came to the Kennedy Center. Even though President Trump's takeover of the center has been really controversial, he's replaced all of his Democratic appointees with his own allies and members of his administration, and many people say that is because of his close relationship with the FIFA president that this draw came to Washington, D.C.
Thank you for that. So, Simone, so he gets the first ever FIFA Peace Prize. I want to remind folks, when there was a lot of buzz around whether or not he might win the actual Nobel Peace Prize, what the head of the committee said about what goes into deciding that award. Take a listen.
In the long history of the Nobel Peace Prize, I think this committee have seen any type of campaign, media attention. We receive thousands and thousands of letters every year of people wanting to say what for them leads to peace. This committee sits in a room filled with the portraits of all laureates, and that room is filled with both courage and integrity. So we base only our decision on the work and the will of Alfred Nobel.
So he did not get the Peace Prize this year. Yesterday, though, he did rename the Institute of Peace after himself, a building that's been empty since its staff was gutted in those Doge cuts earlier this year. What do you see happening right now?
So I think what Donald Trump is doing here is frankly what he's always done. He's using culture as a shortcut to legitimacy. People might forget, but Donald Trump at one point, he had the cultural mainstream. Think of Home Alone. Think of at one point, he was the most mentioned name in rap music, and that was in a positive way. He would go to the fights and be seen with Don King. Even our Reverend Sharpton, our colleague, talks about this often. But he lost that a while ago, and ever since that, he's been trying to claw it back, and we see this in many different ways. Putting himself really at the center of what FIFA is doing with the draw today. There were other world leaders there today, I would note, but we're not hearing about those folks. We're not hearing about Claudia Sheinbaum from Mexico or the Prime Minister of Canada. We're talking about Donald Trump. And authoritarian-minded leaders oftentimes use stages and ceremonies to project power. Right, that's what this is. Think Orban in Hungary. He built a whole apparatus of these state-funded cultural bodies to promote his worldview. You can look at Erdogan in Turkey. He's reshaped these national institutions. Heck, even Putin. His government in Russia regularly actually makes up awards and medals and orders and oftentimes bestows them on people who align with Putin's worldview. And so Donald Trump is I don't agree with him on much, Chris, but he is a master marketer. And he understands that culture shapes a lot. It shapes what we see as worthy, as legitimate, as cool, even as presidential. And he is inserting himself in the middle of that because he knows if you can take hold of the culture, things that people don't necessarily think of as inherently political, you can then dive in maybe into their worldview in that way. And it is something he has done throughout his career, and he is trying to really ramp that up in this second administration.
Let's talk about the reality of what we saw today, because the FIFA organization includes in its code of ethics a requirement that participants remain politically neutral. And then you have the Trump administration with its hardline immigration messaging, which seems to be contrary to welcoming the world, welcoming foreign visitors to the United States to watch the World Cup. How is that going to play out?
I don't think it's going to play out well for some of the participants and the people. We will have to see if folks feel comfortable coming to the United States from some of these other countries. If people do feel as though it's welcoming, I think the FIFA organization has made its decision, right? Much like many of the corporations and companies, and frankly, other world leaders. Honestly, Chris, I think they gave him the award today because they understand that one of the best ways to get into the president's good graces is, in fact, with flattery. He likes awards and bringing him things and showering him with praise. And it's just not FIFA, other world leaders have, and corporations and companies have understood this is the way to get to in Trump's good graces. Tim Cook, who is no, conservative bastion, one of the last times he was in the Oval Office, he presented the president with some kind of gold statue for his friendship and the work that they've been able to do together. Tim Cook understands why the president needed that statue. So I would argue we have to watch what the numbers look like. I'm concerned about the athletes, right? At the end of the day, again, the event today was about the draw, so the teams would finally realize who they're going to play against. I hope that for the sake of the athletes who have really poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this field, that they are not adversely affected. But make no mistake, culture and politics are intimately intertwined, and I'm wondering if they've gotten any commitments from ICE about what they won't do when these games take place with the people who are coming to watch them.